What if I told you that one night, one man ignored one computer, and that single decision is the reason you and I are alive today? Let's get into it, because this story, it actually reveals a hidden master program that's running in all of our brains, and more importantly, how we can learn to rewrite it. Picture this. The date is September 26th, 1983. It's just past midnight inside a top-secret Soviet nuclear command center. The world is on a razor's edge, deep in the Cold War. And then, all of a sudden, the silence is just shattered. A piercing alarm goes off. Every screen flashes a terrifying bright red. The satellite system is screaming one single message. Launch detected. An American nuclear missile is on its way, heading right for Soviet territory. And it doesn't stop there. Another one is detected, and another. In just a few minutes, the system confirms not one, but a total of 5 inbound nuclear missiles, all of them coming from the U.S. West Coast. For the computer, the decision is absolute. This is a confirmed nuclear attack. Now, Soviet protocol is crystal clear. Report the launch and immediately initiate a massive counterstrike. The man on duty that night is Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov, and his job isn't to think, it's to follow the system's orders. If he follows protocol, he starts World War III. If he hesitates, his country could be wiped off the map. So put yourself in his shoes. What would you do? In that moment, with unsinkable pressure, Petrov did something the computer was never programmed to do. He actually questioned the system itself. He calmed himself down and asked a simple, logical question. Wait a minute. If America was really starting a nuclear war, would they only send 5 missiles? It just didn't add up. A real first strike would be hundreds. So Petrov made an impossible call. He ignored the blaring alarms, went against the entire computer system, and reported a malfunction, a false alarm. Hours later, the truth came out. The satellite hadn't seen missiles. It had mistaken the sun's reflection off some high-altitude clouds. Petrov's that feeling, his ability to see beyond the rigid system, saved the world. Petrov saw the fatal flaws in an external computer system. But the most powerful system we deal with every single day, it's not made of wires and code. It's that invisible system running inside our own heads, our brain. We're taught to think of systems as these big external things, right? Like governments or the economy or computer algorithms. But the human brain is a system too, a biological one that runs on really predictable patterns. And these internal systems can be incredibly dangerous, mainly because we can't even see them running. Our brains just love running on these predictable patterns, or loops. Think about it. Someone gives you a piece of critical feedback, and you immediately get defensive. Well, that's the ego loop. You know you need to do something important, but it feels risky, so you put it off. That's the fear loop. You plan to check your phone for 5 minutes, and an hour just vanishes. The habit loop. These aren't just bad habits. They are silent, automated programs. And just how powerful are these loops? Get this. Research from Duke University found that up to 45% of our daily actions are not conscious decisions. They're habits, just running on autopilot. That means nearly half of everything you do today will be dictated by these invisible loops. So why does the brain even create these loops? Is it just for efficiency, or is there something deeper going on? Well, a really simple experiment reveals something absolutely mind-bending about how our brain constructs reality itself. Okay, look closely at this rotating mask. It's just a normal mask, right? As it turns around, I want you to predict what the inside, the hollow side, is going to look like. It should be curved inward, concave. So let's see what happens. You saw a normal outward projecting face, didn't you? Even though you logically know it's hollow, your brain showed you a familiar face. This is a well-documented illusion, and it reveals a pretty shocking truth about our minds. Your brain isn't just seeing reality, it's actively creating it. And this gets to the crucial point. Your brain doesn't just passively receive information from your eyes and ears. Neuroscientists call this predictive processing. Your brain has an internal model of the world. It first predicts what it thinks it's going to see, and then it uses your senses just to check if it got it right. And when there's a conflict between reality and the prediction, your brain will often just distort reality to fit what it expected. So this is where it all comes together. These autopilot loops and this predictive brain, they are all governed by one master controller, one master loop that is probably the single biggest limiter of our potential. To save energy and make stable predictions, the brain compresses all those smaller loops ego, fear, habit, into one central operating system. And that master system is what we call your identity. And this isn't some philosophical idea, this is neuroscience. Your identity is the brain's master predictive model that regulates pretty much every other thought and behavior you have. And this identity is so powerful, it can completely override pure logic. Check out this fascinating study. They gave participants, including math experts, a table of numbers and asked them if a skin cream worked. Everybody interpreted the data perfectly. Then, the researchers gave them the exact same numbers, but just changed the topic to whether gun control reduces crime. And suddenly, the math experts started misinterpreting the data to fit their pre-existing political identity. So when their identity was threatened, even the most intelligent people got it wrong. Their high IQ wasn't used to find the truth, it was used to defend their identity. This is exactly why debates about politics or religion often go nowhere. It's not really about a battle of logic, it's a battle of identity. When it comes down to it, identity is the real boss. This brings us to a really fundamental question. If a high IQ can be totally hijacked by our identity, then what is true intelligence? Well, the answer isn't about what you know, it's about what you can become. Scientifically speaking, the true measure of intelligence is just adaptation. Reality doesn't give us IQ tests, it gives us adaptation tests. True intelligence, then, is the ability to break free from the trap of a rigid identity. It's developing what we call adaptive intelligence, a fluid, flexible identity that can change to meet the challenges and goals of your life. Okay, so this is where theory becomes practice. Knowing all of this is one thing, but how do you actually do it? How do you rewire that master identity loop? Well, it turns out it's not a motivation problem. It's a structural problem. You need to fix the entire system. And based on a ton of scientific research, we can boil it down to a simple 3-step feedback loop. And they all work together. Your mindset influences the environment you choose and the behaviors you try. And in turn, your environment and those repeated behaviors reinforce and actually reshape your mindset. Let's break down these 3 parts: mindset, environment, and behavior. Let's look at this loop in action. Quitting smoking is an identity problem. It might start with a new mindset. I want to be a healthy person. But when someone tries to quit alone, just relying on willpower, the success rate is a dismal 5 to 8%. Their environment hasn't changed. But when they intentionally change their social environment by joining a support group, that new setting makes the behavior of not smoking far easier. And that new behavior, repeated over time, strengthens their identity as a non-smoker. The success rate jumps to 15 to 25%. That's a 2 to 3 times greater chance simply by building a system that reinforces the identity they want. The thing is, our identities often become rigid, while reality is always changing. And that gap is where our growth stops. The smartest person in the room isn't the one who knows the most. It's the one who can adapt their identity the fastest. So the only question left is, who will you choose to become?